I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good evening, Lauren Frontiera. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful evening?
Oh my goodness. I am getting ready to finish up work for the day actually and take the dog for a walk.
All right. And what part of the world are you in right now?
I am located in Denver, Colorado.
And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
I assume my podcast, I think, is how you found me actually.
Yeah, most definitely. Tell us about your podcast, please.
Yeah, so my podcast is called The Real Female Entrepreneur, and it is weekly inspiration for women who are running businesses and chasing their dreams. It's quite unlike a lot of podcasts that are currently out there for female entrepreneurs. So rather than sharing the strategies that have worked, that have helped women grow their successful businesses, instead I sit down with these women, pull back the curtains, and share their real stories. So the hard parts, the failures, the struggles, the often untold stories of building and growing successful businesses.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Did you have a similar type story?
Yes, that is actually what inspired the podcast. I was, neck deep in the world of entrepreneurship, trying to grow my first business, and there was so much incredible content out there teaching me how to do that. But I found myself overwhelmed with the doubts and the insecurities, and really, it was the first time ever that I felt that. And then I started hearing other women sharing these parts of their stories too. And when I did, for the first time, I didn't feel alone. And so after closing my first business, I started the podcast to share more of those stories because I wanted to inspire more women who were like me, struggling through those fears and doubts and insecurities, and remind them that they're not alone.
So important, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, so vital. Yeah.
Why did you choose the podcast platform to begin that?
That's such a great question. At the time when I was running my first business, that's when I first found podcasts. And one of my first podcasts was actually Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. And so that kind of just led to this obsession with podcasts and learning like really incredible business content through podcasts. And I just loved the intimacy of podcasts. There's something really intimate about being so connected with someone's voice and getting to hear their story in that way that's really different than any other platform. And I think it was my personal obsession, though, that led to me wanting to create my own.
How challenging was it for you to get started?
Well, when I first launched the podcast, I have to say the thing that I did not expect at all that was the most challenging was the technical side of things. I went into it knowing that I wanted to share these stories, that I wanted to interview these incredible women, but I had no idea how to actually create, record, edit, host, all of those things when it came to podcasting. And so that was probably the biggest challenge, but I luckily had time on my side and spent several months getting all of that set up before I did launch the podcast. So that was the most unexpected challenge going into it.
That's wonderful. Now that you've gotten over that hurdle, why will you continue to repeat the skill of podcasting and sharing with real entrepreneurs?
I've just seen how incredible it has been for growing my business. I honestly spent the first year and a half with zero marketing strategy. So, and the growth that I experienced with the podcast was incredible. I've also seen how impactful these stories are to other women. I've heard stories of women, having the courage to leave their jobs and start their businesses from listening to stories that have been shared on the podcast. Other women who have been inspired to keep going. So many stories, and just knowing that it's inspiring other women in the same way that it's still inspiring me. Like I am still on this entrepreneurial journey, and I need these stories and these conversations. So I love podcasting. I love talking. So I have no plans to stop anytime soon.
There we go. Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you, Lauren?
TheRealFemaleEntrepreneur.com. That is where you will find the podcast and all of the other incredible content we're pumping out every week.
Sweet. What's one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Oh my gosh, over the last 3 years, I would say reading personal development books.
How does that make you feel?
I I attribute all of them to continuing the work that I'm doing and to the person that I've become over the past 3 years. I've read some incredible books, and I'm constantly seeking out new ones. I read at least one every month, but they have been so vital and just transforming me as a human, as a person. Yeah.
Suggest to someone why they should decide to learn as well via reading.
Yeah, I think as human beings, I believe that a huge part of our journey is constantly growing into who we are becoming. And it can feel so impossible to do that when you are just one person without tools and resources and other people who have gone before you, leading and guiding you along the way. And so, reading these books really not only helps you do that, but it expands your mind. And, like for me personally, you're going to learn so many incredible things, and it's going to open your mind to so many incredible opportunities and mindset shifts that you've probably never even considered.
Love it. Amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Lauren Frontiera. Again, you can connect with her by going to The Real Female Entrepreneur. She is the podcast host. Look at you, the podcast host of The Real Female Entrepreneur. Well, Lauren, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Lauren,
Oh, sounds wonderful.
what is your earliest childhood memory?
It would be, I was about 4 years old and I was watching the TV show The Pink Panther with my baby brother in the room.
Intriguing. Yeah.
So
Wow.
random.
So why do you think this memory is so clear?
I don't really know, honestly. I don't have a lot of early childhood memories that are super clear. So I'm not sure. There you go, right? Maybe the theme song.
That's amazing. How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Oh, that is such an incredible question. It makes me think about my relationship with my younger brother, which is one of the most important relationships in my life today. We have such a great relationship, and it's cool to look back on that. Actually,
It is.
I just thought about this having this conversation with you, seeing that like that's really where it began because he was a baby there.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Please do.
I love the idea that you have a connection with the unspoken word. As you said, you found that real female entrepreneurs tend to speak more, and the way that you pull that out. So even like with Pink Panther, right? No words, right? But there's so much going on. But here you come in now to put words to the drama, if you would, to put words to the strategy, to put words so others can understand that, hey, there are steps you can take to do what is necessary to be the real female entrepreneur.
Oh, yes, you just blew my mind. That's such a beautiful explanation.
Ooh, if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh my gosh, probably Everything Hanson. Bop. Yeah, I think that would have been about that age.
There we go. Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Lauren?
I am ready.
Lauren, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I have not.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you have children?
I do not.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Oh, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I do not.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, God. More than 8.
If you had to share with us, Lauren, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Lauren Frontiera, what would you say that is?
Live life to the fullest in every minute and always seek adventure.
Yeah, just like Pink Panther, seeking that
There we go.
adventure, right?
Yeah.
Love it. Lauren Frontiera, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I think that's it. I'm so great. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come on and chat with you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. A pleasure I treasure. Lauren Frontiera, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much, Angel.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyag.com. That's poemsbyag.com.